this is completely different. It's always a different environment here on the waterfront. It's always a little bit windy, the wind changes direction, so it's always a bit tricky. But today, it's blowing a gale out there, and with this torrential rain, it's going to give the guys a real challenge.
Well, we'll start off with the women. It's the women's team bronze medal match. Mexico facing Korea. The Koreans coming out first. A team consisting of Choi Bomin, Kim Yoon-hee, and Seok Hyun. The Koreans getting here with a 17-point win over Kazakhstan in the quarterfinals before losing by 1 to Chinese Taipei. So this is the team from Mexico, actually, that we're looking at right now. Mexico, Linda Ochoa on the right. And she's teaming up with Brenda MERINO and Fernanda del Rocio SANODVAL. So the Mexican team out first. Mexico seeded 5th, reached this bronze medal match. They had a bye in the 1/8 round, then an impressive 6-point win over Colombia before falling by a single point to the American team in the semifinals. Now through the raindrops, we can see the team from South Korea coming out to compete here in these rainy conditions in Shanghai. So Korea, a 17-point winner over Kazakhstan in the quarterfinals before losing by 1 to Chinese Taipei. Choi Bomin on the left, teaming up with Kim Yoon-hee and Seok Hyun. So those are the archers who will be competing here today. By the way, the world record in this event, 236 points, recorded by the United States team in Ogden, Utah, back on August the 4th of 2011. I would imagine this first end, Andy, is a kind of a feeling out and just getting an idea of how the weather is going to affect these arrows.
Yeah, that's right, Carl. The practice sessions, the guys will be out back practicing for the past hour or so, but even that's going to be very different and more sheltered than standing here on the finals. So the first arrow going down, they'll be watching it closely, seeing where it goes. The teammates, the person standing behind ready to go and shoot, will be talking to the archer on the line, telling them what the flags are doing, giving them every second as the wind changes and what's happening to try and give them the best chance of getting the arrow in the middle.
And you bring up an interesting point. It's not just the rain, it is also the wind that they have to contend with.
That's right. If you just look at those flags at the side on the waterfront there, you can see how much it's blowing. These guys are going to be really struggling to be able to hold the bow on the middle of the target. So as much as moving the arrow, it'll be about moving the archer and moving the bow around.
So the 2014 season about to begin. Let it fly, and there you go. The first shot of the season is an 8. And a little bit better with that second shot for Korea. As you can see, the downpour. Monsoon season arriving early in Shanghai. So not a bad start for Korea.
No, that's not bad at all. In these conditions, that's really good. They're looking calm, collected, and shooting well.
So a pair of 9s and 1/8. As Mexico prepares for its first shot of this match. Trying to peer through that sight, through the raindrops, and it's a 7. I suspect we will see some 7s, maybe some 6s, some low scoring today, I would think.
Certainly lower than we normally expect to see from these guys, definitely.
26 points recorded so far by Korea. Not a bad start at all. And Mexico trying to find the range right now through the raindrops. And now Linda Ochoa with her first shot. Trying to pick up her teammates. And she does.
Shot.
So a terrific shot by Linda Ochoa, the veteran on this team for Mexico. And Mexico within a point of Korea. Here in the first end, midway through. Our first match of the day, our first match of the 2014 outdoor season.
Now, I have to say at the moment, despite what the flags are doing, the archers look fairly collected on the line. They don't look like they're fighting the bows too much from the wind, which is good.
Just a tad low that time for Korea.
Fantastic shot.
So a great shot to finish off the first end, and Korea posts a score of 53 on the first 6 arrows. 3 strong shots, though, for Mexico would bring Mexico right back in. But quite a bit low.
I blame you for that, Carl, saying you think there might be some sixes.
Exactly. Always blame it on the broadcaster. A master craftsman never blames his tools.
Oh, absolutely not.
Better effort that time for Mexico. And now Linda Ochoa, who was a member of the team in Nîmes that defeated the United States for the gold medal back in February, steps up for her second shot, hoping to pull her team at least back within 3, and she's not going to do that.
Not happy with that shot.
So it will be a 5-point deficit for Mexico as the red, white, and green post the score of 48 to Korea's 53 points. And it's a 5-point advantage for Korea. Now, last year, under slightly better weather conditions, it was India that won the bronze medal in the women's team competition. Trisha Deb, Gangadeep Kaur, and P. Lily Shanu coming away with the bronze medal on that day. We've seen it rain here in Shanghai before, Andy, but not quite like this.
No, this is torrential weather. I mean, it's just, I didn't much like just walking through it earlier, let alone standing in it and trying to shoot in it.
And you're from Great Britain.
Yes, we're used to it. It doesn't mean we enjoy it. Doesn't mean we enjoy it. As you can see here, they're spending a lot of time trying to dry their scopes out. That camera shot we saw earlier, where we could hardly see the archers because of the raindrops on the camera lens, that's very much what the target can look like through these scopes. And you can start to get the dot that you're trying to put on the middle of the target gets very fuzzy, and that can all be adding to the problems. If it's an individual shoot where you've got a bit more time, then you can cope with that and you can think about that a little bit more. But of course, in the team round, you've got your 20 seconds, get on the line, shoot, and get off again. So that all adds to the pressure to try and be able to cope with that. So they're spending a lot of time trying to keep their kit as dry as possible.
That clock is running, and you do not have much time. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I've been wondering how you see through that sight when the rain is coming down. There's no way to keep the water off that sight.
No, absolutely. Well, a lot of archers will have rain shields, which do help keeping the big blobs of rain off. But all you can do is try and keep it as clear as possible.
So the arrows have been retrieved, and we're getting set for the second end. Here in the first match of the day. First event, stage 1, 2014 World Cup season, as we head outdoors into the maybe not so great outdoors today, but it does make things interesting. So Mexico on target number 1, trailing by 5, will shoot first. The rain started last night. We had a beautiful day here yesterday in Shanghai. In fact, we had blue skies, sunshine in the morning. But the weather moved in last night, began raining, has not let up, and not expected to let up until midday tomorrow. Great shot from Mexico. And I believe that was Brenda MERINO with the shot. Now, Fernanda del Rocio SANODVAL, 17 years old.
You can see there, she was struggling with some water in her peak. She was trying to blow the water out before she made the shot.
Just did grab that line. It's a 9. And Linda Ochoa with her third shot of the day. And high on that shot. So a 10, a 9, and an 8 for Mexico. And Korea, which started this end with a 5-point lead. Kim Yoon-hee, 20 years old, unranked in her first international competition, fires a 9.
조금 더 가까이 해. 좌우 차이는 없어. 네.
Great focus, great concentration. Ends up with another score of 9 for Korea.
지원아.
And an 8. So Korea gives back a point. The lead is overall down to 4 right now. 79-75. Korea with the lead midway through the second end. Here in our first match of the day. Back to Brenda MERINO, who was also a member of that team in Nîmes in February that defeated USA for the gold medal.
Now you can see the wind starting to affect the bow.
When that wind comes up like that, Andy, better to get the shot off or try to hold it and wait?
The best way to shoot in the wind is to try and come up, keep your timing and shoot quickly, shoot normally. If you try and fight with the wind, you can end up getting tense, which then just makes the shot worse. The longer you hold it, the more tense you get, the more you fight with the bow, so then it's very difficult to make a clean shot. It's easy to say that, of course, but if the wind blows you off the target and you're pointing in the middle of the two bosses or somewhere else, then you need to spend a bit of time getting back in the middle.
Linda OCHOA, after an 8 with her first shot of the second end, comes back with a 9, so a much better score in this end. 53 points for Mexico. 101 overall. And trying to apply a little bit of pressure on Korea, which is easier said than done. Another 9. And the final shot of the second end for South Korea. And there you can see she's trying to blow that water off there.
She's really struggling. If you get water in the peak, you cannot see anything at all. It's like somebody's just put their hand in front of your eyes.
Now time becoming a little bit of a factor.
9 seconds to make this shot. So her teammates.
She's going to have to take the shot. With 2 seconds to go, she lets it fly, but that's better than not taking the shot at all.
Well, that's 5 more points than she would have had.
What a struggle right there to get that shot off. So there you see how the weather conditions are affecting the play here.
It's the first time we've seen the weather conditions even look like it was getting to the Korean team. They've been very composed. You could hardly tell it wasn't a sunny day watching them shoot the other arrows.
So after the second end, there you see the scores. And Mexico starting to make a little bit of a comeback and get back into this match midway through.
Today in these conditions, the matches aren't going to be over until the last arrow shot. Anything can happen in these kind of conditions. We've seen it many times in other World Cup finals where people in these kind of conditions have had problems for exactly that same reason, with missed arrows and all sorts of things. Hopefully we won't get any misses today, but you never know.
So here we go as we head to the third end in rain-drenched Shanghai, China. The eastern seaboard of China, just off the China Sea. They had windstorms and dust storms in western China, and I think that's the system that moved in here. We don't have the dust and the wind, but certainly the cold front came in and brought with it a lot of rain, a lot of moisture. But the crew from Hit the Roof and World Archery hanging in there here in Shanghai on the River Boulevard as we get set for the third end. And Kim Yoon-hee, 20 years old in her first international competition, lining up the shot. She's been solid so far.
Absolutely. And you can see with her, I was saying about trying to keep the timing. She's up on the line, draws the bow, makes the shot.
Here's Hyun, the The winner of an individual gold and a mixed team silver in Shanghai and an individual silver medal in Antalya, all that last year in 2013. And she drills a 9 as well, so back-to-back 9s for South Korea. Now Choi Bomin, who is ranked 13th in the world, and she comes up with a 10.
Well, that's good to see that her last arrow isn't playing on her mind. She's back to making good, strong shots.
So after Mexico had mounted a comeback, Korea responds with a 9-9 and a 10. And here's Brenda MERINO, 18 years old and ranked 34th in the world.
Fuerte, fuerte.
And she didn't appear to be happy about the shot when she let it go, but it wasn't bad. It got inside that 9 ring.
It did. She actually looked like she was struggling to make the shot a little bit. Maybe she was struggling to
Vamos,
aim
Brenda.
that.
Ms. SANODVAL, competing in only her 5th major international competition, follows up the first 9 with another 9. And Mexico trying to keep pace. A 10 will do it. Linda OCHOA, who finished 6th at the World Cup Finals in Edinburgh in 2010. She scores a 9, and Mexico's just a point back. So a great match in our first match of the season. Outdoors, Korea seeded 2nd, taking on 5th seeded Mexico, and another 9 for Kim Yoon-hee. Hyun came to China last year, ranked 47th in the world. Came away with a whole bunch of hardware and moved up in the world rankings. But this time it's an 8. And another 8.
Now with Mexico, they're a little bit down on time now. They used a little bit more than half the time for their first 3 arrows, so this will be interesting to see how they get on. So now have 40 seconds left for 3 arrows.
Fuerte, Fer, fuerte. Bien.
So low and to the left, that's an 8 for Brenda MERINO, who needs her teammate, the 17-year-old Fernanda del Rocio SANODVAL, to pick her up. She's
Good,
quickly off the line.
Making up time and getting a 10. Beautiful.
Great
That's what
shot.
they needed.
And now Linda OCHOA with a chance to give Mexico the lead.
Vamos, Linda.
6 seconds.
2 seconds. She lets it fly and comes up with a 10. So Mexico does indeed come back and take the lead after the 3 ends.
That's very impressive. Both girls, they knew they got a bit of a time pressure there. They didn't let it get to them, and they actually made fantastic shots straight in the 10.
So both teams adjusting to the weather conditions right here. Mexico making maybe a little bit better adjustment right now, and they are back in this match after falling behind by 5 points in the opening end. They came back, picked up 4 points, and were only down by 1 midway through the match, and now have 155 points on the scoreboard with just 6 arrows to go. Actually 157 points, excuse me, for Mexico. 155 for Korea. So a 2-point lead from Mexico as they try to pick up the bronze medal here in the women's team bronze medal match. Mexico as a country with an opportunity to pick up 2 bronze medals here this morning in men's and women's competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you see the scores. Mexico falling behind early, but fighting back and getting dialed in as the rain continues to come down in buckets. And some hardy fans up in the stands taking in the action here in Shanghai. Saturday morning here in China. Wherever you happen to be, whatever time of day it might happen to be, we're glad that you are with us here on Archery.tv.
关注李欣的将获胜。Second two, shooting first.
You can get an idea of the winds that are whipping along the river boulevard here in Shanghai. So Korea trailing by 2. Kim Yoon-hee to shoot first, trying to bring Korea back. And that's a great start.
One.
Hyun, who was a member of the first compound team Korea ever sent to a World Cup event, comes up with another 10. So Korea appears to have things figured out. Just inside the 9 line.
Vamos,
That's
Fer,
fantastic
fuerte y
shooting in these
seguro.
conditions.
10, 10, and 9. Back to Brenda MERINO, a bronze medalist of the Mexican Grand Prix last year. Finished 7th about a month ago at the Arizona Cup under windy conditions, now windy and rainy conditions here in China that she's dealing with, and she dealt well with a 9. Now the 17-year-old SANODVAL, and she's high with an 8. So OCHOA needs a 10 right here to keep things even.
Linda, fuerte, fuerte.
Linda OCHOA, who won an individual silver medal here in Shanghai in 2010, comes up with a 9.
No, está.
And so the lead goes back to Korea, 184-183, midway through this final end. Just inside the line for Kim Yoon-hee. Now Hyun, who shot recurve till she was 19 years old and then switched to compound. Boy, did she ever. Wow. These are the money shots for Korea right now. CHOI Bomin, gold medalist in Shanghai a year ago. And another 10.
Vamos, Fer, vamos.
Clutch shooting by Korea, really putting the pressure on Mexico right now, and basically Mexico's got to shoot 10s from here on out. Not even close.
Vamos, Brenda, vamos.
So Mexico, which had a 2-point lead after the first 3 ends, had to watch Korea. Korea shooting terrifically. And now this is basically a moot point. Linda OCHOA to take the final shot.
6.
On the line, that'll count as a 10. But it's hardly enough for Mexico, as Korea, in a seesaw battle that saw Korea get off to a 5-point lead after the first end. Then Korea fell behind by 2 after 3 ends, but they come back strong, Andy, down the stretch with some big shots in that last end.
Absolutely, to finish on a 58 is absolutely fantastic shooting from the Korean girls.
So on a soggy Saturday here in Shanghai, Korea, seeded number 2, will come away with the victory. The team of CHOI Bomin, Kim Yoon-hee, and Hyun. And Korea really a new factor basically in compound. They hadn't really been that much of a factor up until about a year ago.
No, that's right, and they've, well, I think most of us always knew that as soon as they decided to pick up compounds, they'd be straight in there, and they've proven it absolutely. And you just watch them shoot, and they've got the same kind of style and the same discipline that you see in the recurve shooting. So it is absolutely fantastic.